Secrets of cash flow in retail furniture. Cash is at the top of mind of all retailers out there. They often say cash is king, and it's king for a reason, because nothing happens without cash flow. Okay, I've seen people growing in sales volume year over year because they're adding new locations and eventually go bankrupt. Well, how could that happen? Well, because they don't have a firm grip on cash flow. The first thing with this topic is really to understand where cash comes from. Cash flow is the final result of all operations. The formula for cash is you basically have your sales minus all your expenses. If you have a net income, that adds to cash. If you don't, that minuses from cash. So you have your starting cash, whatever's in the bank, plus profit or minus loss. That's not everything though. Cash changes because of purchases on the balance sheet. For instance, if inventory grows, then cash goes down. So if it was only profit and inventory, just say you had 100,000 in the bank, you profited 20, so now you're at 120. Inventory went up by 20, then now you would be back at 100. So your cash would actually be exactly the same, even though you made a profit. So you can see something like inventory has an impact on cash. Another big one is customer deposits. So if you grow customer deposits, cash goes up, right? Another one, if you grow receivables, well, that would be like you lending people money. So cash would go down. Another big one on the balance sheet is accounts payable. If you keep AP the same from one month to the next, how would that affect cash? Well, it wouldn't change. If AP was always the same and constant, then it would have no impact on cash, okay? Now, if AP went down because you're paying off bills faster, then what's going to happen to cash? Cash is going to go down. So with cash flow, one thing to remember, profit is the number one thing that's going to really add to cash, but there's other things that will add or take away from cash. So what I try to get people to focus on with cash is focus on growing profit and focus on keeping inventory and accounts payable at responsible levels for your operation. With growing cash on the P&L with profit, it's all about growing sales or hitting your sales targets while at the same time growing gross margin or achieving higher gross margin percentages. And keeping expenses in line with where you're budgeted to your percent of sales, or decreasing if you have inefficient expenses. So, but bottom line is maximizing the bottom line. So that's the number one way to grow cash. And then just keeping inventory so it doesn't fluctuate too much as a percent of sales. You'll have fewer, anyways, cash flow swings because of inventory, okay? And accounts payable, if you can find your sweet spot zone for accounts payable, then you'll have very few cash flow impacts as well. In paying back loans with cash flow, depends on what the loan is for when you take a loan. Loans, in my opinion, are for long-term asset acquisition. If you're taking a loan to buy inventory, it may be a questionable area to take a loan in, depending on the situation. Okay, payback loans, it depends on the interest rate. Other things that may affect cash flow. A common one is with inventory buying. Should I be buying containers that require to outlay a lot of cash, or should I be paying more and buying lesser quantities at any one time? So my answer to that is usually dependent on the particular situation. If the turns of the product for the container merchandise justify buying in containers at a lower price, I'm all for that, okay? It's provided though that your operation has good procedures with selling into the container as it's on the water. Okay, you have to flow the container and sell into it properly to make containers worthwhile. Otherwise, it can become a cash flow hog. For a situation where the inventory is questionable, I would prefer you take the lesser quantity at a higher price. Other things that may affect cash flow, biggest thing is getting the gross margin that you need, making sure the best sellers are priced appropriately, making sure that you're getting what you need for special orders to maximize gross margin, pricing new items properly within their price point on the front end. Now that you've heard a little bit of what I have to say on cash flow, I'd recommend you do this. Go to your system, run a statement of cash flow. This should give you a picture of where you're spending your money and why it's growing or why it's being depleted. If you run this statement of cash flow and it doesn't make sense, well, that tells you what you need to do. You need to figure out your statement of cash flow and make sure it makes sense. Otherwise, use this as your master report card month in, month out to know exactly why cash is going up or going down. Having proper cash flow is what will enable your operation to be funded and grow into the future. It will also enable your operation to get through inevitable times of economic downturn. So really seek to become an expert in how to accumulate the proper cash in your business.